Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Holistic Hormone Podcast. I'm Dr. Eleanor Duelley, and today we're going to talk about why functional blood work is a game changer if you are a woman in your 40s and 50s, because I really want to explain to you how iron, cholesterol, and blood sugar are super important for not only our health, but our metabolism, the way that we sleep, the energy that we have, and the way that our body can function in this world. So if you seem to be struggling, even though you're doing all of the things like taking your supplements, eating healthy-ish, and trying to do better with exercise and sleep, but you're still not seeing any results, then this episode is for you. You are listening to the Holistic Hormone Podcast, the place for answers when your doctor says everything looks fine, but you know something's not right. Hi, I'm Dr. Eleanor Duelley. I'm a naturopathic doctor and board-certified nutritionist with nearly a decade of experience helping women heal naturally without medications. I run the tests that most doctors don't, and I find what others miss in your blood work. This podcast is where I share what I see every day in my holistic hormone practice so more women can feel validated, informed, and empowered to take charge of their own health. This podcast is for educational purposes only. I don't treat, diagnose, or prescribe, but I do believe that your body can heal itself when it has the right support. Now, let's get into today's topic. Hey everybody, welcome back. Like I said in the intro, I'm Dr. Eleanor Duelley. I am a naturopathic doctor and a board-certified nutritionist. And just to remind you, I'm not a medical doctor. So this is no way, shape, or form medical advice. I don't diagnose or treat or prescribe. So this is all for educational purposes. And today we're digging into 4 particular lab markers that I want to explain to you, because if you are feeling the fatigue, the brain fog, the belly weight, and some women describe it as hormonal chaos, they just feel off and then go to their primary care doctor and they usually get blown off or told, yeah, that's what menopause is, buckle up. So those women usually come to me and I can be very reassuring in telling them that once I get a chance to look at the blood work and explain it to them, then we actually have things that we can do to improve not just the symptoms, but improve the root cause so that the symptoms won't come back either in another form or come back in a couple months. So most labs are incomplete. If you listen to my last episode, if you haven't, pause and then go back and listen to it, because I talk about how medical doctors don't typically order all of the labs for all of the information. They just are looking for very specific things to either diagnose or to treat or to prescribe. Those are the things that I do not do, but those are the things that the conventional medical model is designed to do. They're not actually looking for imbalance that down the road might look like disease. That's what I do. So that's the difference when people come into my office and they say, I've got blood work, everything looks fine. I'm like, let me take a peek, because I'm guaranteeing there's some things that were left out. So today we're going to focus, the first thing we're going to focus on is iron. Iron is so important to understand your levels because it's responsible for oxygen being delivered to your red blood cells. Why is that important? Because your cells need oxygen to live. So if they don't have adequate oxygen, they are on the struggle bus, which feels like fatigue. It feels like I can't get out of bed. It feels like I have no energy. My body hurts. My brain hurts. Everything is in slow motion. So we need to make sure that you have adequate iron so that your mitochondria, remember that powerhouse of the cell, it needs to produce energy, and iron is needed to make sure that your thyroid functions well as also, okay? So what I often see is the blood panels that the conventional doctor will just do serum iron, okay? And if that's good, we're good. Well, not so much, because storage iron is called ferritin, and a lot of times I see storage iron in the low teens. When the storage is low, it means that you're borrowing from yourself. And when that storage runs out, you're going to be in a really bad situation of trying to get iron, like infusions or very quickly. So when you have low ferritin, some symptoms are hair loss, shortness of breath, cold hands and feet, fatigue, anxiety, brittle nails, and restless legs. So this comes on usually when I ask women who are still menstruating if they have very heavy periods because they're losing a lot of blood. If you have low stomach acid, so if you are suffering with acid reflux and maybe you've been prescribed PPIs or proton pump inhibitors that are designed to keep your stomach acid low, or plant-based diets. Those are generally the reasons why I see low iron in my practice, because they're not getting iron, or they're getting enough and they're losing too much. The other scenario would be that they're getting iron, but their body does not know what to do with it. It's not breaking it down, it's not being absorbed, and that can be very hard on the digestive system, but it also shows up that it doesn't contribute to the ferritin levels. So it's really important to check that. On the flip side, when I see high ferritin, it's not because there's, oh my gosh, there's so much storage, this is wonderful. It's because usually that when the serum iron, so the circulating iron, is normal and the binding capacity, or the TIBC, is also normal, but then I see the storage is high, that really indicates that there's inflammation. Okay, it doesn't mean that there's an iron, there's too much iron. It means that there's inflammation. So inflammation can hide in some of these blood markers that kind of get overlooked or not tested at all. So it's important that we check on oxidative stress. So stress that toxins are stressing out our cells, essentially. And so if we can find out what's stressing out our cells and remove that stress, then these things will be repleted naturally through our natural diet and digestion. But if we're not aware of it, we don't really know that we're doing it. So my suggestion, I always run a full iron panel, a serum iron, of course, ferritin, TIBC, and percent of saturation. For low iron, it's below 40. Between 60 and 90 is usually optimal, depending on symptoms, cycling women or menopausal women. And then if it's low, supplementing with vitamin C really helps, because it helps to absorb iron better into the cell. So you'll often see vitamin C with iron if you're taking it in a supplement, which is a good call. It helps you to absorb it. But things like calcium and caffeine actually stop the absorption of iron. So if you do take an iron supplement in the morning, be sure that you're not going and having a cup of coffee afterwards, or taking a calcium supplement as well. You need to space those out by a few hours. So the next one I want to talk about a little bit is cholesterol, because it gets such a bad rap, you guys. How many women come to me with high cholesterol? Their doctor says they have high cholesterol. Well, I'm here to tell you that every single steroid hormone in your body is made from cholesterol. So estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol. When estrogen drops, cholesterol oftentimes goes up in a menopausal woman or a perimenopausal woman. And it's not a problem. It's because the body is actually normally, naturally compensating. So that's not an issue. Now, LDL, everybody says that's the bad cholesterol. I don't really like labeling good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. I say they're protective, the HDL, and then the LDL within the right context. So a lot of times people are quick to say, oh, that's high, it's bad, I'm bad. I had a French fry 3 weeks ago and now my cholesterol's all messed up, right? Generally, they accept that as the answer. And I tell them that's probably not the reason. If you eat healthy-ish, pretty well, you don't drink a lot of soda, you don't drink a lot of alcohol, you're not smoking, any of these chronic toxins can contribute. So if it is high and you're doing those things, then that might be contributing. If you eat fast food all the time, once a day or more, most likely that is contributing to LDL. But if you have a healthy-ish diet and your LDL is elevated, then we need to ask more questions. We need to say, why is your body making this? It's trying to build something. It's trying to reduce inflammation. So if we find the source or the reason it's being built, then we're in a much better place to be able to identify that and reduce LDL. Most doctors want to put you on a statin. A statin is a drug that reduces cholesterol. So your body does all of this work to make this hormone to help you, to make hormones for you, to compensate when things dip. And statin comes in and cuts it all in half and throws half of it away. So in certain circumstances, it's appropriate, obviously. If it's really high and it's impacting other parts of your body, absolutely. But I think the better question is to ask, why is it high? Does it make sense that it's high? Am I having a hormonal imbalance, whether that's a thyroid hormone, or estrogen, or am I having an imbalance that my body is really trying to overcompensate for? So don't panic if your LDL is elevated or your cholesterol is elevated. Get some context. Ask more questions. Come and ask me. But what we really need to do is support the liver, because the liver is what's making the cholesterol. So if the liver's happy and it has all of the things that it needs and it's functioning well, then that's great. Then it's going to make hormones and it's going to make cholesterol at a great level. If it's not getting the proper fats, the omega fatty 3s that come in that fatty fish, the avocados, the eggs, the nuts, the seeds, if your body's not getting that, or even worse, you're consuming it, but your body's not receiving it. It's not absorbing it, and it's coming out in floating stool. It's coming out, if you have bile issues, gallbladder issues, we need to find the leaks in the system so that the functionality of the liver and the way that it makes cholesterol and hormones flows well. Because a lot of times, your body's really trying to do it right and optimally, but there's so many things in the way that we don't really even know about that we can pay attention to. So again, talk to your medical doctor if your cholesterol is really high and you need support, because we can also support reducing inflammation while bringing the cholesterol down. That's the whole point. So cholesterol, not bad. It's actually a really good rebuilding hormone precursor in the body. Okay. Next one is blood sugar. Oh my gosh, you guys. So many women in menopause come to me in tears saying they cannot lose weight. They diet, they exercise, they intermittent fast, they only do Mediterranean diet, they do keto, they try all the latest, they do CrossFit, they do all the things, but their weight won't budge. And it's super frustrating. And I have been there myself, so I understand what it's like. I need you guys to understand that all of this stuff is related. So as estrogen declines in your body, your ovaries start to retire. They're getting ready. They've lived their life, they've done their job, and they are retiring. They're not broken. There's nothing wrong. It's a natural progression in the body. It should be painless, and it should be just the ceasing of menstruation. That's it. There shouldn't be any other symptoms associated with it. But when estrogen declines, sometimes, even with a healthy diet, estrogen can desensitize insulin. So what does that mean? It means the insulin that you're making, if you have too much estrogen floating around, it can make the insulin less potent. And when that happens, the glucose can get high and out of control and stored as fat. So you might say, well, why would my estrogen be high if I'm approaching menopause? That doesn't make sense. Well, the estrogen that you're making is reduced. But what a lot of women aren't really focused on is how your body detoxes from estrogen. So it doesn't mean you're making too much or you're making more. You could actually be making less. It doesn't actually matter how much you're making. If you're not detoxing from it, it's staying in the body until it finds a way out. And usually it finds a way out in ways that we don't appreciate, like clots, spotting, diarrhea. So that's the kind of backdoor plan when estrogen can't get out of the body through the liver. So I walk each of my women clients through proper estrogen detox from the get-go, because me included, every woman I've ever met has issues detoxing from estrogen, because we're not told that that's the problem. We're told that that's just PMS and that's just menopause and that's just the way it is. So we don't investigate anymore. But I'm here to tell you, I can help you detox from estrogen so that every time you make it, even in menopause, ladies, you're making estrogen, you have to detox it properly, or it's going to blunt the potency of your insulin, which will create an imbalance that builds body fat. There you have it. So when you get your blood work, I just actually got it done by my primary care because I was kind of curious of what they test. They tested my glucose. Great. I said, can I get an insulin test and a hemoglobin A1C test? And they said, absolutely not. You're not a diabetic. And I said, well, testing only the glucose in my blood literally translates to not a lot of information. It will tell you if I had carbohydrates for dinner the night before, or if I properly fasted in the morning. It tells me nothing about how my body manages glucose from day to day. It tells me nothing about how insulin gets stored as fat when there's too much that shows up. That's why I test all three of those markers every time. Because when I see insulin above about 6 or 7, that tells me that there's being too much is being made and stored as fat. I don't want my metabolism stuck in there's too much glucose, there's too much insulin, they're not working together, let's store it as fat, default. I want the glucose to be released into my bloodstream so that the glucose can get into the cell by using insulin to get into that cell and giving me energy. If you think you're stuck in a fat storage, or are you stuck in an energy usage? And if it's the fat storage, I have some solutions for you. We can look at how your body uses glucose and uses insulin. What time of day are you eating? Are you getting appropriate healthy fats and protein? I know we all kind of roll our eyes because we know this. We know this stuff. And we're like, yeah, but I'm not hungry. Yeah, but I have to have my Diet Coke. Yeah, and I'm not saying any of those excuses are wrong. I hear them every day, and some of them are me. However, if we know how it's affecting our blood sugar and actually contributing to fat creation in the body, I think we would have a much different perspective on the things that we're choosing. Right now, we're just so confused because everything in the media, all these TikTok doctors, all of these people that have these solutions, if they're trying to sell you something, most likely they're just trying to sell you something and they're not properly educated. Of course, that's not the case in all areas, but check it out. So my point is, if you prioritize protein, if you eat breakfast within an hour of waking up, yes, I know, you're not hungry. Yes, I know, you can't eat it. You don't want it. You never wanted it. All of the things, it doesn't matter. I tell my clients in here, this is in my office, I tell them, you could tell me anything in the world and I'm still going to tell you to try to do it. Eat that breakfast. Get that protein, get that fat. It will set your blood sugar up to be balanced. When your blood sugar is balanced, your body is not making fat. Repeat that to yourself like a mantra, okay? Okay, some other helpful supplements if insulin is resistant, if it's not working as well as it should. There's different supplements like berberine is great. Inositol I use a lot with women with PCOS. Peptides are a dream when it comes to balancing blood sugar, which is why they were created for diabetics about 25 years ago. So I'll do a whole nother episode on peptides, but these are helpful in balancing that blood sugar and getting your metabolism looking good, and getting the body fat that is hanging around and not moving to get it moving. Okay, last part, I want to talk a little bit about detox markers because these get overlooked a lot as well. The liver is our detox machine. That's why we have to love it and take care of it. We have to reduce toxicity in our environment. That's the first step. The second step is improving the processes of detox. So if we do both, the magic happens. Okay? The liver is responsible for clearing excess estrogen, excess cholesterol, toxins, metabolic waste. It does it all. And when it's sluggish or if it's slowed down, it's not eliminating properly, which leads to symptoms. So if you have symptoms, if you have pain, if you have things that hurt, things that are uncomfortable, most likely it's your body telling you that something's not functioning well. The body's not designed to feel pain, but it's designed to let you know by using pain signals that something is not balanced. So we have to look at the liver markers. We want our ALT and AST. You might recognize those from the CBC. We want those in the 20s to 30s. Okay, I often see these in teens and single digits, which means the liver is basically screaming that it needs help. Again, reducing what's in our environment and improving the detox system from within. So, of course, we want to eat more vegetables. We want to eat organic foods that are not sprayed with chemicals. We want to use non-synthetic fragrances. We want to use detergents that don't have all of those toxic chemicals in there. I made a whole detox guide. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. I give it to all of my clients. I'm happy to give that away. You want to eliminate properly. Are you sweating when you should be sweating? Are you pooping every day effortlessly? When I say effortlessly, that doesn't mean runny stool or diarrhea. This means the normal good poops. Are you doing that every day? Because if you're not, you know inherently that that's not great because there's toxins staying in your body, there's toxicity floating around, and it's just not getting out. So we have to help out the liver, and we have to look at these numbers on the blood work because they matter. Every time I make a protocol uniquely for each woman, the first thing I look at is estrogen detox, I look at blood sugar and metabolic health, and I look at the detox pathways. So those are the three things that make the most difference, and they get overlooked in the conventional medicine model. Pretty much nobody knows to do this. We know detox, we know it's a buzzword. There's juice cleanses, and there's programs, and there's gut detox, all of the things. And there's even supplement packs that go along with these. I'm telling you, if you don't do the foundational stuff first, which are the three things I just mentioned, then you're skipping your body's ability to actually get healed this time, to actually fix your metabolism this time. It took me a lot of years and a lot of school and a lot of trial and error, but the women that come through this practice now are actually feeling better, they're seeing results, and they're sustainable in their life. They're not something that you just come in, take a medication, it works for a little bit, and then you kind of move on because you're bored and you don't want to do it anymore. This is about addressing the things that are actually game changers in your life. And I'm here for it. That's why I created this practice, that I help women. So if you want to know what your ferritin is and how your LDL is affecting you, sign up, come get a free consult. I will walk through your symptoms with you, and I will walk through your blood work with you. Each of my clients get a video that I make specifically about their blood work, and I put it up on the screen, and I talk to them about what is related to what patterns am I seeing, and compared with your symptoms and your background, your health history, I can create the protocol that is going to help get you moving in the right direction. So if you're frustrated, if this episode is talking to you, then reach out. I offer a free 20-minute consult. I can do virtual anywhere in the world. And I'm happy to read your blood work and tell you what it says. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know what it's like to not feel heard and not feel validated. And I hope this opened your eyes to getting better answers from your blood work and understanding what it means. Just remember, your body's not broken. It just needs to be heard. When we read your labs differently, we treat your body differently. See you next time. Thank you for listening to the Holistic Hormone Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the content I shared today. I created this podcast as a way to provide you with my insights on all things holistic, from hormones to blood sugar regulation and everything in between. I work with women every day navigating these exact issues, and if anything in this episode resonated with you, I'd love to stay connected. Just as a reminder, I'm a naturopathic doctor and board-certified nutritionist. I am not a medical doctor. Everything I shared here today is for educational purposes only and not intended to diagnose, treat, or prescribe. You can follow me on Instagram at holistic.hormone.specialist. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Eleanor Duelley and sign up for my weekly email list at www.eleanorduelley.com for holistic tools, insights, and encouragement. And if you'd like to chat one-on-one about your unique health concerns, you can always book a free consult with me and connect through my website. Take care of your body. It's talking to you. I'll see you next time.